Welcome back to Stamps Old World US. Today we are exploring one of the most iconic stamps in American postal history. The 1940 United States Pony Express 80th Anniversary 3-cent stamp. If you enjoy learning about rare stamps, their fascinating history, and their current market values in today's US dollars, make sure to subscribe to Stamps Old World US and turn on notifications so you never miss another exciting stamp story. The stamp you are looking at is the famous United States Pony Express 80th Anniversary Commemorative Stamp, issued in 1940 to celebrate 80 years since the legendary Pony Express began delivering mail across the American frontier. This beautiful red stamp captures one of the most exciting moments in American history. It features a Pony Express rider racing across the landscape on horseback, carrying precious letters through mountains, rivers, and dangerous territories. At the top of the stamp, you can see the words United States Postage, while the bottom proudly reads Pony Express 80th Anniversary. The stamp has a face value of 3 cents, which was the standard first-class postage rate at the time. The Pony Express itself only operated for a short period between 1860 and 1861, but it became one of the greatest symbols of courage and determination in American history. Riders traveled hundreds of miles through difficult terrain, changing horses at relay stations to deliver mail faster than ever before. Although the Pony Express lasted only about 18 months before the telegraph replaced it, its story became legendary, inspiring books, movies, and collectors around the world. The United States Post Office honored this remarkable achievement by releasing this commemorative stamp in 1940. One reason collectors admire this stamp is its impressive artwork. The detailed engraving shows the rider leaning forward as the horse gallops at full speed, creating a feeling of movement and urgency. The background includes trees, open countryside, and a winding river, giving the design a classic American frontier appearance. On the left side, the year 1860 reminds us when the Pony Express began, while the year 1940 on the right celebrates its 80th anniversary. These historical details make the stamp much more than a piece of postage. It is a miniature work of art that preserves an important chapter in American history. Millions of these stamps were printed, making them relatively common today. However, their value depends greatly on their condition. Collectors pay close attention to the centering, color, gum condition, perforations, freshness, and whether the stamp has ever been hinged or used. Even small differences in condition can make a dramatic difference in value. Let's talk about the market value in today's US dollars. A used Pony Express 80th anniversary stamp with a clear cancellation and average condition usually sells for around $1 to $3. A clean mint example with original gum generally ranges from $3 to $10 depending on quality. A well-centered mint, never hinged copy in excellent condition may sell between $15 and $35. Professionally graded examples with outstanding centering and exceptional preservation can reach $50, $100, or even several $100s at specialized stamp auctions. While this stamp is not considered extremely rare, premium quality examples remain highly desirable among advanced collectors. Collectors should remember that condition is everything in Philately. Two stamps that appear almost identical can have completely different values simply because one has better centering or fresher color. Professional grading services carefully examine every detail before assigning a grade. High-grade stamps are much harder to find because many stamps from the 1940s were stored improperly or damaged through everyday handling. If your stamp is still attached to its original envelope with an attractive postmark from the first day of issue, it may have additional collectible value as a first-day cover. Many collectors actively search for beautifully preserved first-day covers featuring the Pony Express anniversary issue. These pieces combine postal history with classic stamp collecting and often attract strong interest in the marketplace. Another interesting factor is printing quality. During production, small printing varieties or plate flaws occasionally occurred. While most Pony Express stamps are standard issues, unusual errors or significant printing varieties can become valuable collectibles. If you notice anything unusual about your stamp, such as missing colors, dramatic shifts, or printing defects, it is always worth having the stamp examined by an experienced philatelic expert. The popularity of Pony Express memorabilia continues to keep interest in this stamp alive. Collectors appreciate not only its historical importance, but also its artistic beauty. It represents a time when delivering mail required incredible bravery, endurance, and determination. Every stamp tells a story, and this one tells the story of the fearless riders who crossed the American West to connect families and businesses long before modern communication existed. If you inherited a stamp collection from your parents or grandparents, don't overlook this issue simply because it appears common. A carefully preserved example could be worth much more than expected, especially if it has never been hinged, has bright original color, and shows perfectly balanced margins. The stamp market rewards quality, and exceptional examples continue to perform well among collectors. When buying or selling this stamp, compare recent auction results and dealer prices instead of relying only on old catalog values. Stamp prices can change over time based on collector demand, condition, certification, and overall market trends. Having your valuable stamps authenticated by a respected grading service can also increase buyer confidence and help achieve stronger prices. The 1940 Pony Express 80th anniversary stamp remains one of the most recognizable commemorative issues ever produced by the United States. Its combination of history, beautiful engraving, and affordable entry price makes it an excellent choice for both beginners and experienced collectors. Whether you own a single copy or an entire sheet, this classic stamp continues to celebrate one of America's greatest postal achievements. Next up, the beautiful 1861-1867 United States 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp, commonly known among collectors as the 1-cent Franklin Blue. Benjamin Franklin was not only one of America's founding fathers, but also the nation's very first postmaster general. Because of his enormous contribution to the American postal system, Franklin has appeared on more U.S. stamps than almost anyone else in history. His portrait has become one of the most recognizable designs in American philately. This particular stamp was first issued during the American Civil War period, a time when the United States was facing enormous political and social change. Despite the challenges of the era, the Postal Service continued to expand and improve communication across the country. The 1-cent Franklin stamp played an important role by paying the postage for newspapers, printed circulars, and certain local mail services. Millions of Americans relied on stamps like this every day, making it one of the most widely used issues of its time. One of the first things collectors notice about this stamp is its elegant engraved portrait of Benjamin Franklin. The detailed lines around the portrait demonstrate the remarkable craftsmanship of 19th century engraving. The deep blue color gives the stamp a classic appearance, while the decorative frame surrounding Franklin's profile reflects the artistic style of the era. At the top, the words U.S. Postage proudly identify the issuing country, and at the bottom, the denomination 1 cent completes the timeless design. Although millions of these stamps were printed, not all surviving examples are equal. Their value depends on several important factors, including condition, centering, color, perforations, cancellations, and whether the stamp has original gum. Collectors carefully examine every detail because even small differences can significantly affect market value. Now, let's discuss the current market value in today's U.S. dollars. A heavily used example with average condition and visible. Cancellation typically sells for around $10 to $40. Cleaner used copy with attractive centering. And lighter cancellation may be worth between $50 and $150. Mint examples with original gum are considerably more valuable and often sell for $200 to $800, depending on condition. A well-preserved mint, never-hinged copy with excellent centering can reach $1,000 to $3,000 at auction. The highest quality certified examples command even stronger prices. Professionally graded stamps receiving high numerical grades from respected organizations can sell for $5,000, $10,000, or even more, especially if they display exceptional color, flawless perforations, and outstanding preservation. Rare shades, special varieties, or unusual printing characteristics may achieve significantly higher auction results. Collectors should also know that this stamp exists in several different printings and varieties. Some versions were printed on different types of paper, while others have subtle color variations or grill patterns that were introduced to help prevent stamp reuse. These differences may appear minor to beginners, but they can dramatically influence rarity and value. Identifying the exact Scott catalog number often requires careful examination by an experienced philatelist or professional grading service. Another factor that increases desirability is postal history. If this stamp remains attached to an original 19th century envelope with a clear postmark, it may be worth more than the stamp alone. Covers mailed during the Civil War era are especially popular because they tell a story about communication during one of the most important periods in American history. Counterfeits and reproductions also exist because Benjamin Franklin stamps have always been popular with collectors. If you believe your stamp could be valuable, avoid cleaning or repairing it. Instead, keep it in a protective stamp holder and consider having it authenticated by a professional expert. Certification provides confidence for buyers and often increases the stamp's market appeal. When evaluating an old Franklin stamp, collectors look closely at the margins surrounding the design. Well-centered examples with balanced borders are much scarcer than poorly centered copies. Bright original color, sharp engraving, intact perforations, and minimal damage all contribute to higher prices in today's market. The popularity of Benjamin Franklin among stamp collectors has remained strong for more than a century. Whether someone specializes in classic United States stamps, Civil War postal history, or portraits of famous Americans, the 1-cent Franklin almost always has a place in the collection. It represents not only the history of American postage, but also the remarkable craftsmanship of early stamp production. If you inherited a family stamp collection, don't assume every old blue Franklin stamp has the same value. Some are relatively affordable, while others can be worth thousands of dollars depending on their exact variety and condition. Taking the time to identify the stamp correctly could make a significant difference. The stamp market continues to attract collectors from around the world, and classic U.S. issues like this remain highly respected. Auction houses regularly feature rare Franklin stamps, and exceptional examples continue to achieve impressive prices because demand from serious collectors remains strong. Next up, the famous Washington 2-cent red stamp. This small piece of paper represents an important chapter in American postal history and remains a favorite among collectors around the world. If you enjoy discovering rare stamps, learning fascinating history, and finding out what old stamps are worth in today's U.S. dollar market, make sure you stay until the end because this stamp has several varieties, and some are worth far more than most people realize. The stamp featured today is the United States 2-cent George Washington stamp, issued during the early 20th century as part of the Washington Franklin series. This series became one of the longest-running and most complex stamp issues in American history. George Washington, the first president of the United States, was chosen as the central figure because of his enormous contribution to the nation's founding. His portrait has appeared on countless U.S. stamps and remains one of the most iconic images in American philately. The beautiful carmine red design features a finely engraved portrait of George Washington facing left. Around the portrait are elegant ornamental borders that reflect the detailed engraving techniques used by the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. The words United States Postage appear across the top, while the denomination 2 cents is displayed prominently at the bottom. For many years, this stamp paid the standard first-class letter rate, making it one of the most heavily used stamps in American history. Because billions of Washington 2-cent stamps were printed over many years, they became a familiar sight on letters mailed across the United States. Families, businesses, government offices, and soldiers all relied on stamps like this to send mail across the country. Every stamp tells a story, and this one represents an era when handwritten letters connected millions of people long before email and smartphones existed. Although this stamp is common in general, collectors know that there are many different versions. Some were printed using flat plate presses, while others were produced using rotary presses. Different perforation measurements, watermarks, shades of red, paper types, and printing methods create dozens of collectible varieties. Identifying the exact issue is one of the most interesting challenges for stamp Collectors. Now let's discuss the market value in today's US dollars. A typical used Washington 2-cent stamp in average. Condition usually sells for $0.25 to $5. Clean used example with sharp perforations. And attractive centering may bring $5 to $25. Mint. Examples with original gum generally range from $20 to $150, depending on the specific variety and condition. Mint never-hinged copies with excellent centering often sell for $150 to $600. However, certain scarce varieties are in a completely different price category. Rare perforation combinations, rotary press issues, booklet pane varieties, coil stamps, and printing errors can sell for $1,000 to $10,000 or more. Some of the rarest Washington Franklin varieties have achieved auction prices exceeding $25,000 to over $100,000, especially when professionally certified and preserved in exceptional condition. One of the most important factors affecting value is identifying the correct Scott catalog number. Many Washington stamps look nearly identical, but tiny differences in perforations, watermark, paper thickness, or printing method can dramatically change the value. Two stamps that appear exactly alike to a beginner may differ in value by thousands of dollars. Collectors also carefully examine the condition. A perfectly centered stamp with bright original color, full perforations, and no tears, stains, or creases is always more valuable than a damaged example. If the stamp has never been hinged and still has fresh original gum, collectors are usually willing to pay a significant premium. Another exciting area is printing errors. Occasionally, stamps were produced with missing perforations, inverted centers, dramatic color shifts, double impressions, or other production mistakes. These unusual errors are highly sought after because they are extremely rare and often become highlights of major stamp collections if your Washington 2-cent stamp is still attached to an original envelope with a clear historical postmark. It may also have additional value as postal history. Covers mailed during important historical events or from unusual locations are especially desirable to advanced collectors and museums. If you inherited a stamp collection from a parent or grandparent, don't assume every red Washington stamp has the same value. Some are worth only a few dollars, while others are genuine rarities worth thousands. Professional identification and certification can make an enormous difference when determining the true market value. The Washington Franklin series remains one of the most studied stamp issues in the world because of its countless varieties and fascinating production history. Even experienced collectors continue discovering new details about these classic American stamps. That is one of the reasons they remain so popular more than 100 years after they were first issued. Today's stamp market continues to reward quality, rarity, and authenticity. High-grade certified examples consistently attract competitive bidding at major philatelic auctions, while even affordable examples remain popular with beginning collectors who want to own a piece of American history. Whether you collect United States classics, presidential stamps, or postal history, the George Washington 2-cent stamp deserves a place in every collection. It represents America's early postal system, beautiful engraving artistry, and the legacy of the nation's first president. While many examples are inexpensive, the rare varieties continue to surprise collectors with remarkable auction prices year after year. Thank you for watching Stamps Old World US. I hope you enjoyed learning about the history and current market value of the United States George Washington 2-cent red stamp. If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and share it with your fellow stamp collectors. Here on Stamps Old World US, we explore rare American stamps, hidden treasures, expert collecting tips, and updated market values in today's US dollars. Keep checking your stamp albums because your next great discovery could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Happy collecting, and I'll see you in the next video.